There comes a time in every woman's life when the noise of the world grows too loud, too chaotic, too misaligned with the quiet truth inside her. A time when she realizes she has spent too many years shrinking, explaining, softening her instincts, dimming her power, just to make others feel comfortable. Jung would say this is the moment the unconscious begins to knock at the gates of the psyche, the moment the queen archetype begins to rise. A queen is not a woman who rules over others. A queen is a woman who rules herself. She is someone who has mastered her inner kingdom, her emotions, her boundaries, her direction, her sense of worth. She is someone who moves from inner authority, from a throne built from self-knowledge, not validation. Jung taught that every individual is born with archetypal forces inside them, universal patterns of power, wisdom, desire, darkness, and transformation. The queen is one of the highest expressions of the feminine self, the integrated, evolved, sovereign feminine principle, but she cannot rise until the woman decides that she is done living small. The queen does not awaken in chaos, she awakens in clarity. The clarity that says, I am the source, I am the standard, I am the one I have been waiting for. Jung would call this a moment of psychic realignment, where the feminine shifts out of the people-pleaser archetype and into the sovereign feminine, where the woman no longer asks, who should I be so others will choose me, and instead asks, who am I when I choose myself? She rises when she realizes she has betrayed herself long enough. She rises when she sees that her deepest wound was believing she had to prove her worth. She rises when she understands that the feminine is not weak, emotional, unstable, irrational, as culture, conditioning, and wounded masculine systems have tried to teach her. No, the feminine is the archetype of creation, intuition, depth, chaos, beauty, transformation, and inner power. But a feminine woman who does not know her worth becomes an echo, and a queen who knows her worth becomes a force. The awakening of the queen begins with one truth: I am done abandoning myself. For Jung, the greatest tragedy is unconscious living. Living asleep, living in survival patterns, living from childhood wounds rather than adult sovereignty. When the queen awakens, a woman finally stops living from the wound and begins living from the self. The queen embodies emotional discipline, not emotional chaos. She feels deeply, but she reacts selectively. She loves fiercely, but she loves herself first. She gives generously, but she only gives where there is reciprocity. She speaks her truth, not to control others, but to honor herself. She turns inward. She looks at her patterns. She identifies the parts of herself she disowned to be loved. She integrates the shadow she was taught to suppress. When a woman integrates her shadow, she becomes unstoppable. Her jealousy transforms into clarity. Her insecurity transforms into self-worth. Her fear transforms into discernment. Her abandonment wound transforms into boundaries. Her heartbreak transforms into intuition. A queen is not perfect. A queen is aware. The queen mindset is a psychological state where a woman embodies self-possession, self-respect, self-knowledge, self-authority, self-sovereignty, self-validation. This is not selfishness. This is psychological adulthood. The more a woman aligns with her inner queen, the less she tolerates mixed signals, delayed emotions, breadcrumbing, disrespect, people who dim her light, partners who cannot match her depth, situations that insult her intuition. She begins to understand her energy is currency, and she spends it wisely. She no longer feels guilty for stepping away. She no longer fears losing what is not aligned. She no longer apologizes for her standards. Because a queen does not wait to be chosen, she is the one who chooses. She chooses herself. She chooses her peace. She chooses her purpose. She chooses her emotional freedom. She chooses the life she desires, not the life she inherited. The rise of a queen does not begin with the crown. It begins with the shadow. The shadow is everything you were told not to be. Your anger, your jealousy, your hunger, your ambition, your sexuality, your power, your needs, your intuition, your desire to be loved, your desire to be adored, your desire to be worshipped, your desire to be respected, your desire to be seen. A queen stops resisting her shadow. She turns toward it. She sits with it. She listens to it. She learns from it. She knows that everything she represses becomes unconscious, and everything unconscious controls her life. So she reclaims it. 1. The queen reclaims her anger. A woman's anger is not chaos. It is information. Anger tells her, I have been disrespected. I have overgiven. I have crossed my limits. I have been silent when I needed to speak. I have allowed someone to treat me less than they should. I abandoned myself to keep the peace. Anger is not a queen's enemy. It is her guardian. She does not explode. She does not suppress. She honors. And in doing so, her anger transforms into boundary. Boundaries do not require force. They require clarity. 2. The queen reclaims her jealousy. A woman's jealousy is not immaturity. It is intuition that has not been translated. Instead of acting out, the queen listens. What is jealousy trying to show me about my needs? Where am I not honoring myself? What part of me feels insecure, unseen, or unchosen? She does not shame her jealousy. She alchemizes it into self-worth. She stops comparing herself, because when a queen stands in her identity, there is no comparison. 3. The queen reclaims her ambition. Ambition is divine feminine creation in motion. Her dreams do not make her unfeminine. Her goals do not make her unsoft. Her power does not make her unattractive. A queen is a woman who realizes, I am allowed to want more. I am allowed to build more. I am allowed to embody more. I am allowed to become the highest version of myself. Her dreams are not negotiable. Her destiny is not optional. Her standards are not apologetic. Ambition is the fire she carries in her womb, the same fire that births ideas, art, beauty, love, intimacy, and transformation. Ambition and femininity are not opposites. They are sisters. 4. The queen reclaims her desire for love. The wounded feminine hides her desire for love out of fear. The queen does not. She knows. Love is not weakness. Love is power. She does not beg for attention. Her presence invokes it. She does not chase connection. She attracts a man who expands her, not diminishes her. A queen knows that love is not found by performing, pleasing, or shrinking. Love finds her when she is aligned, sovereign, radiant, and whole. 5. The queen reclaims her sensuality, and sexuality culture has taught women to hide their sensuality, and the wounded masculine has taught them to fear it. But a queen knows sensuality is not sexualization. Sensuality is presence in the body. Sexuality is sacred energy, not shame. She reclaims her softness, her curves, her magnetism, her pleasure, her feminine mystery, her erotic innocence, her inner fire, her sacred power to attract, inspire, and awaken. A woman who is at home in her body is irresistible, not because of how she looks, but because of how she exists. 6. The queen reclaims her needs. The world has taught women to believe having needs makes you needy. But Jung would say that denying needs creates shadow craving, unconscious clinging, fear-based attachments, emotional emptiness, and relationships born out of wounds rather than truth. A queen is not afraid to say, "I desire emotional presence. I desire honesty. I desire affection. I desire consistency. I desire a partner who is conscious and available. I desire someone who values my energy." Her needs are not demands, her needs are her truth. And any love that requires her to silence her needs is not love, it is self-betrayal. 7. The queen reclaims her intuition. The feminine intuition is the most powerful psychological instrument a woman possesses. Jung said, "Intuition is perception via the unconscious." A queen does not override her inner voice. She does not second-guess her knowing. She listens. Intuition is her throne. Discernment is her crown. Self-trust is her kingdom. 8. The queen reclaims her emotional depth. The world tells women they are too emotional, but Jungian psychology sees emotional depth as intelligence. A queen's emotional mastery is not suppression. It is self-awareness. She feels deeply, but she does not drown. She observes her emotions as messengers, not dictators. She says, "What is this feeling trying to tell me?" Her emotional depth becomes her superpower. It allows her to love deeply, see clearly, bond authentically, and detach gracefully. 9. The queen reclaims her darkness. There is darkness in every human. The queen does not hide hers. She knows her envy, her rage, her desires, her wounds, her fears, her longing, her capacity to destroy are all part of her psychological wholeness. She knows her darkness contains her intuition, her boundaries, her standards, her resilience, her fire, her magnetism, her self-worth. 10. The queen reclaims her sovereignty. Sovereignty is the final stage of shadow integration. It is the moment a woman stops living as a reaction and starts living as a creator. She no longer waits for permission. She gives it to herself. She no longer needs validation. Her worth is internal. She no longer tolerates situations that drain her. She protects her energy like a throne room. She no longer chases peace. She embodies it. She no longer tries to convince anyone of her value. Her presence speaks for itself. To listen to more videos, press like and hit subscribe button.